Hey boys and girls, welcome to another super exciting, outrageous toy review. Today, my friend Derek's here to join me while we talk about monsters in my pockets. These were some crazy little tiny monster figures that came out in 1990 from Matchbox. And basically, they were supposed to be the greatest monsters of legend, and they were shrunk down to the size they'd fit in your pocket. Each monster had a little point value to them, so there were rare guys and more common guys, and that also played into a little game that was supposed to be played with them, where you could have a pile of your monsters and your friend had a pile of their monsters. Everybody would pick one and you'd see who had the biggest, strongest monster.
It was not a very complicated game.
It was very simple. And
not very entertaining.
No, we had more fun just playing with them as toys than like the game. So the monsters came in a couple different types of packs. There were little tiny blister packs where you could see the monsters, so there would be like 3 monsters in a pack. Then there were these blind boxes where you could see the one rare 25 pointer and all the rest were hidden inside. And then there were also these larger gift sets that came out more towards the end of Series 1. And I was able to find these at Toys R Us when I was a kid and was able to finish my collection, just to kind of buy all the monsters in 2 packs.
Which I felt was kind of like cheating after I had painstakingly assembled a full set out of these boxes where you only see one of them.
Yeah, I had done that for a little bit and got some doubles off of Derek, but it was just so hard to find them because I didn't get them often enough, and they were starting to get more and more scarce. So when I saw the complete set, I was like, I'm done. I'm gonna get them all right in one shot.
Now the nice thing about playing with these when you were a kid was that they had no backstory. They were just monsters of myth, and you were free with your imagination to have them be whoever you wanted them to be. Give them their own personalities and so on. What I liked especially about the set was that it took some... it had classics like the Mummy, but then, and the Vampire, then it went into pretty obscure monsters, like, for example, where do we see Baba Yaga?
It's just like a witch in a pot, like a kettle. Yeah. It's really crazy.
What country is she from?
I don't even know.
Aztec monster, Coatlicue,
yeah.
Coatlicue. We had Catoblepas, Greek.
Believe so. And the cool thing also was that there was like a little pamphlet that kind of gave you just like a sentence about each one, so at least you weren't completely in the dark about what the monsters were. It could just kind of pique your interest.
Later we got a hold of the trading cards that had a more satisfying explanation for them.
Do you remember finding at the Percy Library a book all about Spring Hill Jack?
Yes, I do.
It was like a little comic type of thing.
Yes.
And that was like the most information we had ever found about any one monster. It was great. Some of the monsters are very classic in their appearance. The Chimera is a lion with the goat's head on its back and the snake for a tail. Some of them seem a little bit more obscure in their stylings. But I think they're all pretty classic. Like the Harpy was one that I always felt like it didn't have any feminine body parts, although usually a harpy is described as being like a woman, with reptilian features or whatever.
Yeah.
So some of them I thought were more spot on than others in their designs.
The harpy's a very strange one.
Yeah. It's cool looking though.
Yeah.
Some of my favorites as a kid, when Derek got his first pack of them, he had a yellow mad scientist. And I thought it was the coolest one of all of them. Whenever we played, I wanted to be the mad scientist. It's like Dr. Jekyll turning into Mr. Hyde. And I just thought it was super cool. Remember you being a big fan of the Behemoth when we were kids. Anybody else that was a big favorite of yours?
The Hanover.
I liked the Winged Panther a lot. And I was also a big fan of the Hunchback.
You were a fan of the Rock. You'd always come and kidnap my guys.
I did like the Rock.
Swoop down from out of nowhere.
And I also had a red version of the Rock. He used to pretend was a phoenix.
Oh, yes, that's right.
That was good. They kind of all came in the same, there's like 4 or 5 colors, and you could get monsters, in different variations. Like I think I have a purple and a green Harpy right here. But then towards the end, we were able to get our hands on some really crazy colored ones. Like this Great Beast is a kind of bright blue. And this Catoblepas is purple, and there's a dark green griffin.
Really, a maroon compared to the
maroon,
purple.
Yeah. And those guys actually came as premiums, like prizes in cereal or other types of packaging. I think you ate like frosted shredded wheat or something like that.
I ate a lot of shredded wheat that I wouldn't have otherwise. It really worked.
I was not able to sucker my mom into buying products to get me Monsters, so I only have this one that Derek gave me because he got 2 of it. Some of the other like weird promotional type things that they did, there was actually a rare monster, supposedly, I think it's advertised on the back of this package, that had a star on its back. Like we said, they all have a point value, and instead of having a point value, it had a star. There is this silhouette on the back of this package doesn't look like any of the monsters. And
until about 5 minutes ago, I really believed that there was, 1 out of every 10,000 packages would have this monster with a star on his back. And you've crushed my dreams now.
There may still be one out there, but no one that I've ever seen online has found this other monster. But
what's the story here?
There's a different flyer. Maybe it's a European flyer. I forget. I saw it online. And they showed the same kind of thing, but the silhouette is the Jaunton Troll, not some made-up monster. And it shows the little star drawn on there. So most people seem to think that it was only that one figure that was available that way. I'm not really sure. I mean, if it's that rare, and it's so hard to tell, the numbers are very small on their backs.
Have you heard of anybody sending one in to get the prize?
Not that I know of. But,
Your mystery grab bag of Monster in My Pocket toys retail valued at over $50.
Wow. So, what was this?
What do you think a star monster would go for now?
Probably a couple $100 at least. I mean, the rare ones are $100 from the different Monster in My Pocket series. Maybe more. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know how big the collector market is for Monster in My Pocket. People like them, but I don't know how many diehard people there are out there willing to, fork over tons of money. People will buy like a bag or a handful of them for, a few bucks here and there. But I just don't know what the value of a single rare, extremely rare figure would be. Hard to say. There was also a fan club for Series 1. There was an NES game that came out.
What happened with the fan club?
The fan club was, it's like another one of these deals that's on the back of one of the packages. This has the poster promo. This has the poster promo. Oh yeah, it's right here. There was a fan club thing. You could send a check for a couple bucks with your name, and you would get a thing in the mail with a newsletter and some odds and ends and stuff like that.
Did we do that?
We were both in it. I definitely was.
All right.
We're actually going to show off some of the stuff from the fan club in a future video, so make sure you check that out. I'm trying to think if there's anything else like really unusual about Series 1.
Well, I want to talk about the 25 pointers.
Yeah, let's talk about the 25 pointers. So 25 points was the top point value in Series 1, the rarest monsters. In my gift set over here, I've got the Great Beast, the Werewolf, and I guess that's it?
Yeah, the Griffin.
The Griffin was also a 25 pointer?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the Griffin. So there's 3 in this set, and I guess there's 3 over there in your set.
Over here, we have the Behemoth, and the Hydra, and the T-Rex.
T-Rex.
Who was obviously Godzilla.
Definitely Godzilla. He looks kind of like Godzilla. He breathes fire in the video game. And a dinosaur isn't really a monster.
A dinosaur is not a monster. We will expand on that point
yes,
later.
There'll be another video conquering dinosaurs and monsters in my pockets. So the Great Beast I always felt was Tiamat, if you're a fan of Dungeons & Dragons. And in the 80s, there was a Dungeons & Dragons cartoon where he was the main bad guy, or she was the main bad guy. It's a dragon with multiple colored heads. And so the Great Beast definitely had that appearance. So I always felt like they must have had some sort of issue where they couldn't use these copyrighted things like Godzilla or the Great Beast.
Tiamat is a Hindu figure.
Is it? Okay.
Isn't it?
I don't know.
I thought so.
I just assumed that TSR that made Dungeons & Dragons would have that name
maybe
locked
applied
down.
to a dragon that looked just like this.
Right. But those were the 25 pointers. They were the hardest ones to get. I remember really liking the Hydra. I think that was my favorite 25 pointer. The Behemoth was obviously one that we were both into for whatever reason. They're actually somewhere. I have no idea where it would be, but somewhere I drew all of the Series 1 monsters when I was a kid, and I tried to make them in scale, and made, like, the behemoth huge, compared to some of the, like, the human characters.
Yeah. The thing that fascinated me about the behemoth was that I had never seen a representation of this monster anywhere.
Yeah, it's like...
He's mentioned in the Bible, but with no great description of his appearance.
Right.
Just that it's big and strong.
It was a cool looking monster. Whether that's what they're supposed to look like or not, I don't really know, but that's certainly what I picture now.
Yeah.
Even like the hobgoblin and stuff. I don't know what a hobgoblin looks like, but that's what I picture now. This little forked forehead. There were goblins, gremlins, and hobgoblins all in Series 1. So there's a lot of that similar type monsters going on. And the Tenga I thought was funny. At the time, I didn't really know anything about them other than Monsters in My Pockets, but later on in the Power Ranger movie, they debuted foot soldiers called Tenga Warriors that were birdmen that were kind of cool.
I think one thing that Series 1 has going for it is that it did have so many of the classics.
It does. It's got all those Universal monsters, the Frankenstein, Dracula, even though they don't use those names, it's the monster, the vampire, you have the mummy. No Gillman, though. No Creature from the Black Lagoon, really.
Yeah, that's true.
But you have Medusa, the Vampirus, a lot of really classic monsters with a few, like, cultural diversity type, like things from other cultures thrown in there besides the classic American monsters or European monsters that have become American things. I always thought the Beast from Beauty and the Beast was an odd choice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's a monster, but just he didn't quite fit the same style as the rest of them. As a kid, I thought it was an odd choice anyway. He's more of a fairy tale creature.
Yeah. I liked the Greek myths were well represented. We have Charon, who rows you over the river Styx. We have the Chimera. We have the Hydra.
Cyclops.
Cyclops.
Wasn't he a 25-pointer?
No, he was not. He was,
like 15 or something?
I believe 20.
20-pointer. We haven't got on the kitchen floor and played Monsters in My Pockets recently. I don't remember my point values anymore. Medusa's a 10-pointer. Oh, and Triton, we always thought was really disappointing he didn't have a trident for his weapon.
He did in some picture.
Yeah, there's a picture in the pamphlet, I believe, where he has like a little weapon in his hand that just didn't come through on the final product. So I don't know whether these were photos of prototypes and they changed it. I think that's the only change, though, we ever noticed.
Yeah.
From the pictures in the catalog to the monsters. Comments below, let me know who your favorite classic monster is. Thanks for watching this super exciting, outrageous toy review. Make sure to like, subscribe, and check out other videos. Alright, you ready? Hey boys and girls, welcome to another super Did I surprise you?